This week on The Big Show, our annual festival rite of passage is upon us, the 10th Annual Middleburg Film Fest. Over the next hour, we'll break down all of the films, festivities, and fun. Charles Kirkland Jr. and I will tell you what films and events that will be a part of the festival weekend. We'll have all that and more in episode 510, Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. Let's go. All right, and welcome to the latest episode of Keeping It Real with FilmGordon. I am Tim Gordon. In case you like, what's going on with Tim's voice, man? Yes, I'm sick again. COVID has bit me in the butt again. So, hey, man, this is what happens when you out in the street raw dogging it. This is what happens when you don't have a mask on, when you just out at movie events. Hey, man, stuff happens, man. So I share where I'm at so that don't be me. Be better than me, right? So, Charles, how you doing, sir?
I am better than you.
Yeah, man,
I am doing quite well today, I think, other than trying to catch up with a whole bunch of work. I am upset that we forgot to mention Coolio in last week's show. But other than that, I'm ready to go.
Hey, man, I mean, we call it the big show, man. There's always a lot of stuff. We try to get in on every show, but we are now in the middle of Festival 101, man. So, TIFF was last month. Middleburg is this month. I think after this, there's only one major festival. I know there's a couple of smaller festivals. The New York Film Festival is already done. Venice, Telluride, and TIFF, as I said, were about a month and a half ago. And then you got AFI. But Middleburg is, it's always a special festival. And as a guy that's been to every one of the Middleburg Film Festivals, I've watched this festival grow in esteem. I've watched it grow in reputation. Just watched it grow, man. So hats off to the founder of the festival, Sheila Johnson, as well as the executive director, Susan Koch. I'm looking at their lineup now, and it's funny because I was sharing with Charles that, as a rule, if I'm not at Toronto, I'm overwhelmed when I get to Middleburg because there are a lot of films that have either played in TIFF, Telluride, and Venice that will be a part of this festival. But I saw so many films at TIFF last month. And Charles, they sent me some screeners of a couple of movies that I need to rewatch. I've watched them once. I think this might be the most chilled Middleburg Film Festival experience I'm ever gonna have because I don't have to be in the movies to watch a lot of the movies. And then I'll also add, which Charles, you can kind of jump in on this as well. There are a couple of movies that are at this festival this year that played at Sundance that we saw. So I'm like, man, I'm feeling good about my festival experience right now. What about you? After looking at the lineup, what are you thinking?
I'm like you. I don't think they had the wide selection that they've had in the past and of films that we hadn't seen previously. So it was a little bit different this year, trying to pick out some films, trying to pick things that I hadn't seen, so that I'm not repeating things. I had the blessing, I guess you could say, of not going to Toronto, so there are a couple films that premiered there that I'll get to see at Middleburg, including Glass Onion, which I'm really looking forward to. So I think I'll do okay.
I think the only film I was really surprised that didn't end up in Middleburg this year, and I think it's because he probably wanted it to play in AFI versus Middleburg, was The Fabelmans, the Steven Spielberg film, which I purposely, Charles, skipped at TIFF because I thought it would be at this festival. If I would have known back in September that film wouldn't have been in Middleburg, I would have gotten up because, and I think I told you the story. The night, I think it was a Saturday night, they had a world premiere of Sydney, the Sidney Poitier doc, and Oprah Winfrey and Reggie Hudlin, the members of the Poitier family were all there. So by the time we got out the theater and we were talking, it was like 12:30 in the morning, and they had two screenings of The Fablemans at 8 o'clock in the morning, like 8.5 hours. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not getting up to go see The Fablemans. But I might have done something different if I would have known that now I have to wait, because we're not going to be able to see The Fablemans, man, probably until next month, Charles, since it's not playing at Middleburg. So that's the one film, honestly, that I think is the big, I'm not going to call it a big miss for them, because I understand what Susan Koch does and, you know, the politics that are involved sometimes, you know, but everything else, man, there are a lot of films, man. We're going to go through some of them that I had the opportunity to see at TIFF, which, you know, I think so. So to Charles's point earlier, I would disagree, Charles, that I don't think they have a star-studded lineup. I think they have some really good films that are at this festival this year. I think for me, and maybe for you, that some of these films, we've seen so many films. Like, I know there are about 3 or 4 films that I've seen that you haven't seen. And then it would also have been helpful if, like, something like Wendell and Wild would have played at Middleburg.
Yeah.
If Chevalier would have played Middleburg. It's already bad enough that what is the name? It was the first movie I saw at TIFF this year, the Triangle of Sadness. You should go see that, Charles.
Yeah, but they got it playing at the same time on Saturday morning, at the same time as another film that I really want to see, and so I'm not.
Charles, I'm being facetious. You should not go see the Triangle of Sadness.
What?
No, no, no. If I could have walked out, I was in the middle of a row near the top of the theater. If I could have got out, if I'd have been on the edge, I would have got out of there, man. Because that second act in that movie is just disgusting. So
So you're saying I shouldn't skip Devotion and see?
Oh hell no! You gotta go see Devotion. What is wrong with you? So let's talk a little bit about the lineup, man. So I'm gonna go, instead of us jumping around, we're gonna take this day by day. So the festival starts. Well, actually, it goes from the 13th through, is it the 13th through the 16th? Yes, right. The 13th through the 16th next week, and that's Thursday through Sunday. So on Thursday afternoon, there are 2 movies that are playing that I need to see. I haven't seen either of these films. Of course, the first one is Tar, the Cate Blanchett film, which is getting a lot of awards buzz for her performance. And then there's White Noise, which Netflix just had a junket for a couple of weekends ago that I didn't go to. So I didn't see White Noise. So I will catch it at Middleburg. Charles, are you going to be joining me for either Tar or White Noise on the opening night, or the opening day, I should say, of the Middleburg Film Fest?
I will be joining you for White Noise, but Tar is too early for me. I won't be finished work yet, so I'll get there after that one has already played.
Well, I haven't heard anything about White Noise, because I really didn't talk to anybody who I know. But I there were several critics who were in my circle who went to New York for this screening. This film has Don Cheadle. Is Jennifer Lawrence in this film too? Who's in White Noise?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, we should do a better job of looking some of this stuff up, man. But let me look that up. I know what Tar is, and of course, Tar is a movie that's kind of a Me Too-ish kind of story about a female conductor who, on her rise to the top and an almost male fraternity, has taken liberties with people, much in the way that males have taken liberties. So I know from what I've been reading about Tar that there's some people who have taken offense that, you're no better than the guys if you're doing the same thing as the guys. And this is probably based on a true story. So, so I'm looking forward to both of these films, man, because, as I tell you guys here on this show every week, this award season thing, man, you got to get movies in early, because there's going to be enough movies that they're going to jam at us starting November, and they just want you to watch everything. And it's almost impossible, man. I mean, you're trying to catch up on stuff you watched earlier in the year. You're trying to watch awards films. It's a lot. It's a lot. to do. And that's why, the Toronto International Film Festival has been a boom for me, because imagine if I didn't go to Toronto this year and I was still trying to catch Devotion and The Whale. And I'm trying to think of several other films that are playing. It's a lot, man. I mean, you would be sitting there like Charles. Charles is going to be, I'm going to be in the lobby or in the podcast studio. Charles is going to be in the movies. And I'm good with that, because I might go back and see Devotion again. I think I owe JD Dillard another viewing of that, because I saw The Whale in Toronto right before I saw Devotion. And I was still on a whale high, when I was watching Devotion. So I think I need to watch that again. I thought Jonathan Majors was really, really solid in that film. So, yeah. So, Charles, before we move on to Friday, man, any other comments about the two films from Thursday?
Nope. I don't think. I don't. When are you going to do the podcast studio? Because I want to try and get there myself. So I mean, I'll make some arrangements, because
Well,
we got a whole bunch of guests coming this year that it's going to be phenomenal as far as interviewing people.
I put in at least as a bare minimum for a dozen people. So there are a lot of interview opportunities. And then I was going to say, as most years at Middleburg, on the opening night, there's usually a party. And I'm hoping that Gina Prince Bythewood, who's going to be one of the guests, will be at the party, because if I see her and get a chance to talk to her at the party on Thursday night, I don't have to come in at 8 o'clock in the morning to watch the conversation with her. So, I mean, no disrespect. I don't, I talk to Gina Prince Bythewood. I don't need to see her in conversation. So that's the first thing that happens on Friday morning. And then there's Nanny, which is really interesting, because Charles and I saw Nanny at Sundance. So I was like, I'm good there. Don't have to see that one again. And then at 10 o'clock is a movie I started to see at Toronto, and I'm glad I didn't, because it'll be my first movie of the morning, which is Broker, which I've been hearing some positive stuff for. Charles, Living, they sent the links out. So if you want to watch that, which I already have, you can watch Living. And In Her Hands, I'm a pass on that one. So the first block is Nanny, Broker, Living, and In Her Hands. I'll take Broker for 100, Bob. What about you, man? What are you doing in the first block?
Well, as much as I enjoyed Nanny, we did see that at Sundance. Why did I think that we saw that at New African Film Festival?
We probably saw it at New African Film Fest too. That movie's been around for about 9 months now.
Yeah. So I'm going to be sidling up to you and watching Broker along with you on that Friday morning.
All right. So the next block is going to be One Fine Morning, which I've already seen. Louis Armstrong, Black and Blues, which is the Sasha Jenkins movie. Sasha Jenkins, his previous movie was Mike's and Men, the Wu-Tang Clan. So I'm anxious to see this film. Good Night, Opie, and She Said. So I've seen One Fine Morning already. I'm definitely going to be at Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues for sure. So that's going to play at the Hill Street facility. So pretty much what we should remind people, if you're interested in coming out to the Middleburg Film Fest, they have 4 venues, if I'm correct. It's usually the Salamander, which is the ballroom. They have a sporting library that's right in downtown Middleburg, right, which is across the street from the Middleburg Community Center. So you have those 1 and 2. And then there is the Hill Street School. So for my money, probably the second best festival venue that is there. So Charles, I'm gonna do Louis Armstrong, Black and Blues. You got One Fine Morning with Leia Sadu, the actress from Blue is the Warmest Color several years ago.
Yeah, but she's also been in James Bond.
Yeah, she's been in Bond. So yeah, man. So and I think I'm good, man. I'm gonna see Louis Armstrong in Black and Blues, and then the next block has Descendant, which I saw at Sundance, based on the story, the documentary about the last slave ship that came to America in 1860, the
Still,
Clotilda. So Causeway is at 2:45. So I will stay at the Hill School, see Louis Armstrong Black and Blues, and then Causeway. So I'm
all
good.
right. So let me say this: because of what's playing across from, um, well, I'm going to skip Louis Armstrong's Black and Blues and do She Said, because I want to set up my day for the next film that's coming after that one, because I'm real excited for that one. But we
Yes,
haven't gotten to that block yet. But that's
yes. Well, let's get to that block, man. Starting at 3:15 is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Uh, which probably for me means that they want to have a run for that film as an awards contender. That's why they brought it back, because that movie was released back in March or April earlier
yeah,
this year.
yeah, we saw that. Yeah, we saw that at a separate screening.
Yes. Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery, really good movie. I enjoyed this version of Glass Onion. I mean, of Glass, yeah, this Knives Out mystery much better than I did the first one. And I would love to see it again, but I just don't think with Causeway that I'm going to get out of there in time. So, Charles, you enjoy yourself doing that one. And so I guess the rest of it we could talk about in that block are Telling America's Stories, All That Breathes, and The Return of Tanya Tucker.
The funny thing is, I was kind of interested in the return of Tanya Tucker because I listened to her music, and the whole story with Brandy Carlisle reviving her career I thought was going to be really interesting. But I got to see Glass Onion. I know Glass Onion is playing again later on in the weekend, but I'm not putting it off. I'm not putting it off.
No, I got you, man. And here's the other thing. We got Women Talking, which I've heard great things about. I purposely didn't see that at TIFF. Killing Me Softly with his songs, Corsage, which was another movie that I passed on at TIFF. So I'm not gonna go see that. I'm gonna do my first repeat screening at 8 o'clock to be in the house for what I think is probably the man who's gonna win the best actor this year, Brendan Fraser in The Whale. Man, you talk about a performance, brother. Wow. Woo! That was a good one.
All That
And
Breeze, we
then
kind of skipped over All That Breeze. All That Breeze is the first documentary to have won at both Sundance and Cannes. So people are pretty excited about that film. I'm not going to see it because, again, Glass Onion. Yeah,
well, you got Glass Onion for you. You got Glass Onion, The Whale at 8 o'clock. And then and that's the Whale is probably like the last movie of that night that's gonna be at the Salamander, man. And so I will see that movie and then I'm done for the day. So uh yeah, man,
we got to
that
get
ought to be a
Brendan
good one,
Fraser.
Charles.
We got to get Brendan Fraser in the podcast studio.
Well, I put in a request for Brendan Fraser, man. I want to definitely talk to him about what he was able to do, how much weight he actually put on versus how much of that was a fat suit. Um, the empathy involved for you to care about somebody who is so obesely overweight, and the motivations of his character that play out over the course of a 2 hour film, which I thought was brilliant, just brilliant. Also, the last film of the night, which is going to play over at the Middleburg Community Center, is After Sun. I'm going to pass on that one, Bob, because it's going to be about the whale, and then I'm straight. All right, so let's start off the next day. Ray Romano is going to be in
I'm just going to
town.
say this though. You've already seen The Whale. I think you should, let someone else get that seat and you go see something else.
There's nothing else to see, man.
You don't want to see the Charles Pope documentary, Killing Me with His Songs?
The who?
Charles Pope, the writer. Love Boat, Love American Style, Charlie's Angels. I mean, this guy's written like hundreds of songs that he gets royalties on every year, including the song "Killing Me Softly" with his song.
That's
He
good,
wrote
man.
all that stuff.
No, I'm straight, man. I watched that later on, man. I'm going back to see the whale. But thank you for trying to like who what? No, I'm good. No. So as I said on Saturday morning, conversation with Ray Romano. Charles, I can see you all hyped up for that one. 9:30 in the morning at the Salamander, J.D. Dillard's film that stars Jonathan Majors, Devotion. You need to see Devotion, man. That's a good one. Now, what I should do is they're showing All Quiet on the Western Front. I don't know. I need to see Devotion again. I mean, is Devotion only
Come
playing
on,
once?
don't front, man. You know you can see All Quiet on the Western Front on your Fire Stick.
Look, Charles. Okay. Yeah, Devotion for 100, Bob. I was trying to be nice, man. Devotion is a really good film, All Quiet on the Western Front, a remake of the I think it was 1929 film, I want to say. I could be wrong. Turn Every Page, and then my personal favorite, Triangle of Sadness. Nah. Triangle of Sadness.
Yes.
Triangle of Sadness, for people at home, are like, what is Triangle of Sadness? Triangle of Sadness is a 3-part story that focuses on this guy that's a model, and it talks about greed and ambition and class, right? So in the first part of the story, it's him and his girlfriend as they are, dealing with issues of income because he's a young new model. She makes more money than him. And then the second act has them going on a yacht and the disastrous meal that happens and the aftermath of that, which I thought was just friggin' disgusting. And then the third act is, without telling you, they end up shipwrecked, and the class aspect really comes in because you've got these privileged, pampered people who understand that their privilege doesn't really help them survive, but there's somebody who's there who they would turn their nose down on any other time who helps them survive. So I just couldn't get past the second act of seeing body fluids all over the place. So I was like, no, I'm good on Triangle of Sadness, man. Y'all can have that one. That's a Charles. Charles, you should go see that. And I'll see Devotion for you. No?
No. Not gonna happen.
All right. So okay. So that's that block. So you're going to see Devotion. There's a conversation with Brendan Fraser and Samuel Hunter, who I think is either the producer of this film. Goodnight Opie, a conversation with George Stewart, and then Armageddon Time at 12:45. So that's back at the Salamander. What is Armageddon Time? Because I think that's a Netflix movie, Charles. Am I right?
I don't know. I don't think it is, but I mean, I could be wrong. It's the
no, it's Focus Features.
James Gray story.
Coming of age story about the strength of family and the generational pursuit of the American dream. Okay. I might have to check Armageddon Time out. What else is in that block? Clothes
That's
and
Anne
policemen.
Hathaway's latest movie.
Say it again.
That's Anne Hathaway's latest movie.
Armageddon Time?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I may have to go in and see that one because that's one that I'm not familiar with. My Policeman was one that played at TIFF, and I was like, no, I'm good. Now the other thing is that they're having a 10th anniversary concert, and one of the things that they're doing this year, Charles, and I think they told you and I, or they may have told me and I told you, that they're bringing back every composer that they've had the first 9 years back to do a concert. So everybody from Chris Bowers to Terrence Blanchard to Diane Warren to like, they're bringing everybody back. So I'm very excited and almost want to see that. That's going to be at 2:00 the anniversary concert under the big tent. Armageddon time is 12:45. I don't know. I might be able to see some of it because then after that is the Sun. And is that Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to see the
That's
Sun.
the follow up to The Father, which Anthony Hopkins won the Oscar for last year, 2 years ago.
Now this is a tough one right here.
So
So
I
while
mean,
the Sun plays at 3:15, right at the Hill School is The Wonder, and that's Florence Pugh's movie about the doctor that they bring in, or they bring somebody in because there's a child in the village that hasn't had anything to eat for 4 months, and everybody's trying to figure out how she's surviving. So if you go see the Sun, I will definitely be at The Wonder. I want to see that one.
okay. Sounds like a
Swimmers is
promise.
that? Go ahead.
I said that sounds like a promise, but I'm definitely going to be at that concert because they got a 45-piece orchestra and everything. It's going to be dynamite.
Oh my God, yeah, man. So, this is a part of when we talk about film festivals, you got choices to make. And I definitely want to dip in and see some of that concert. You will be closer to it than I because you'll be at the Sun. It's going to be harder for me because I'll be over, on the other side of town at the Hill School. But yes, I'm definitely looking forward to The Wonder. I saw the trailer this morning, and that is a Netflix film.
Yeah.
So I will see if we could regroup and have a conversation about the two movies because we don't necessarily need to watch all the same films. It's cool that we're watching different stuff. Coffee and Contenders. So Clayton and Jazz from Variety. We'll be talking about Oscar favorites at 4 o'clock in the library. Salvatore, Shoemaker of Dreams. Lady Chatterley's Lover. Don't know what that's about. And the Banshees of Inisherin. Charles, at 6
Lady
o'clock.
Chatterley is an old movie. It's been around quite a while.
It has been. And unless this is a new version of the story, is not?
Nope.
Okay, never mind. The Banshees of Inisherin. You should check that out, man. That's going to be at the Hill School on Saturday night at 6 o'clock. That is Colin Firth and Brendan Gleeson. Story of two friends living on a small island out in Ireland in 1923. And one of them tells the other that I just don't want to be your friend anymore. And the reaction that kickstarts in not only their relationship, but in the town. So I thought, what is his name? The director of this film he did films like I think he directed. Is it Martin McDonagh? He did 3 Billboards. He did.
He did 3 Billboards.
Yeah, he did
Okay.
Calvary. Yeah, I like his movies a lot. And in this one, if you didn't see Calvary, it's on your Fire Stick. I watched it a couple of nights ago. He filmed it in the same spot, and he used a lot of the same actors for that story that he did in Banshees. So this was a return to his Ireland roots. So good film. I would recommend you checking that one out if you haven't seen it. They're also going to be showing The Woman King on Saturday night. No disrespect. Movies in theaters now. I don't need to see it at Middleburg unless you're going to watch it and they're going to have Gina Prince Bythewood and some cast members there, which I don't think that's going to happen. Let's see. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed.
There is a Q&A after The Woman King.
There is a Q&A, so Gina Prince Bythewood, I guess, is going to stay.
Right.
Somewhere in Queens is going to be a Saturday night film at 8 o'clock, and it's showing Knives Out again. So if you wanted to see Knives Out, you could see it on Saturday night as well.
I think I want to see Somewhere in Queens. Ray Romano's film. I'm getting good buzz from it, so I'm going to check it out instead of watching Glass Onion for the second time. Huh?
You've already seen it?
I watched it on Friday.
You watched it where on Friday?
At the Salamander.
Oh, I thought you said you've already watched it. I was like, what are you talking about?
By that time, I'll have already watched it.
Oh, so this is playing Friday?
Yep.
Okay, so somewhere in Queens. Okay, cool. All right. So, and that is Saturday night. The last film Saturday night is Glass Onion and Knives Out Mystery, which will play back at the Hill School. And then Sunday morning, 9 a.m., the State of the Film Industry panel. I have no idea who's on that panel. Decision to Leave is at 9:15. The Good Nurse, which I think I will see before the festival, is early in the morning. The Banshees of Inisherin, and the movie that you should be going to see, Till, at 10:15. Oh man, you gonna miss Till, man.
We'll miss Till.
Wow. She Said. Did we talk about She Said already?
Yeah, that's another repeat. It played on Friday as well.
And then there's Bad Axe. Bad Axe. What is Bad Axe?
They sent us a screener of Bad Axe. So that's the story about the guy in Bad Axe, Michigan, and all about the pandemic and all that stuff, trying to keep his company afloat.
Business afloat. Okay. Women Talking, Searching for Sugar Man. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because part of my issue on Sunday is that everything early I've already done, right? So I'm not going to sit through Till again. The Good Nurse I would have already seen. Banshees I've already seen. Searching for Sugar Man, I don't understand that either, but you know. And then The Wonders at 2:30. And then the Talk Back with the Critics, which is my panel at 3:00. Me, Travis Hobson, Nell Minow, and Susan Wazena. And then The Inspection is 3:30. The Empire Light is 4:00. So The Inspection, Charles, which I would highly recommend you going to see, is going to be over at the Hill School. So it's sad that on Sunday they're doing Till, The Inspection, which for me would be the movies you need to go see, man.
I'm wondering why they had to put Till on Sunday morning. They could have done that on Friday morning or something. Friday morning was light.
Friday morning was light. Hey man, don't ask me. Till I think Danielle Deadwilder gives a performance that should have her as an Oscar nominee this year. The Good Nurse, like I said, is screening this week, so I will take a look. But I have nothing to do on Sunday morning. Sunday morning, I'm just like, yeah.
Well, maybe you should come to church with me.
No, because I'm unlike you. I'm not going to drive all the way back and forth. That's just not going to happen. I can watch church online. My church.
Okay, you can watch mine online too.
Okay, so Charles, there you go, man. You have it. There's the festival. So after that, going through all these films, are you still thinking that this schedule is light? And what would it played here other than the Fablemans? What else? Like I named several films, like Chevalier could have played here. Wendell and Wild could have played here. I personally would have put Portier in the festival. You know, even though it's on Apple TV, it plays better on the big screen. So there was several options of things I would have programmed this year, but you know, they're programming to a group of people that yeah, I mean it's really tough, man. Because like I said, I'm looking at my Sunday schedule, and outside of The Good Nurse, there's nothing to see, man. I've seen everything already.
You know, the thing about Middleburg is they're usually a pretty good predictor of the Oscars. So the films that they get in are usually the ones that are top of the line. For instance, Drive My Car, which won the best international whatever film last year, I saw at Middleburg. I sat through 3+ hours of that film at Middleburg, and I mean, we can go down the list of how many films that they have in the past that are Oscar winners. I don't know how many of these that they're showing this year are actually going to be in contention. Well, I don't say in contention because they will all probably be in contention, but are there going to be Oscar winners? I know we're looking at The Whale, we're looking at Brendan Fraser, might have The Lock, but what else? What else is playing on this slate that we're going to say, oh yeah, this is a lock of an Oscar win? I don't know.
Well, I will tell you this from what I've seen that I think that Gabrielle Union is going to be in the conversation in the supporting actor race for her work in Devotion. I mean, excuse me, not in Devotion, in The Inspection. I think that, I mean, without having said it, I think Viola Davis is going to definitely be in the mix for the Woman King. There are some contenders that I think that are here, man. I mean, and we won't really know because it still may be a little early. I don't know about Armageddon Time. Triangle of Sadness looks like a movie that if they submit it for a foreign language Oscar, could possibly do some damage. I'm just gonna be real bold because we do the Black Reel Awards. Devotion, The Woman King, Till, and The Inspection. All four of those movies are gonna play well with our audience. So I'm not even tripping on that. And those will go in line with Black Panther, The Woman King, Nope, and other films that are going to be contenders this year. So there's always something positive to take away from the festival circuit, man, in order to see some of these films early and start to project out what it is that we're looking at, man. Because this year, we're going to have a truncated award season because, we're going back now for the first time, Charles, to the pre-pandemic sort of timeline that we're closing everything on the end of the year. I think the Oscars this year is going to be in March, which I think they probably may move it back into February if everything is right, in 2024. I'm sorry, 2020 through, no, next year will be 2023. So in 2024, I was right the first time. So I think we're going to see a little more movement. There's other shows that are coming back. I just don't know how well those shows are going to be, specifically talking about the Golden Globes. I'm not sure exactly how well that show will be attended because I don't know. I just know that it's happening this year in the middle of a week, and the Critics' Choice Awards now is going to be the Sunday show that happens during Dr. King weekend. So all of this is getting us ready for those sorts of events that are coming up in the next several months, man. So, Charles, what are you looking forward to at this 10th anniversary of the Middleburg Film Fest?
Did you really ask me that? Did you? What am I looking forward to at Middleburg? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Glass Onion. I've been telling you this for decades now. It feels like decades. I was so disappointed that I couldn't get to TIFF to see Glass Onion, and I'm very thankful that they were able to program this at Middleburg. I've been waiting for the sequel since the first movie dropped because I thought the first one was so outstanding. So I'm all in for Glass Onion. I really am. I can't wait to see it. Yeah, you've told me that The Whale is great, and I'll watch The Whale, but I'm watching Glass Onion first.
So Edward Norton, Leslie Odom Jr., Daniel Craig, Janelle Monáe. It is just the Knives Out mystery series is just amazing, man. I mean, and I think they took it and they elevated it in this film. When I saw it at Toronto, I was like, yeah, that's really good, man. That's really, really, really good. So yeah, man.
It was in my top five. Knives Out was in my top five the year it came out. And so if you say Glass Onion is better, hey.
Hey man, I'm looking forward to a bunch of these interviews, man, because they haven't let us know which interviews we're getting. I put in for a bunch of people. So I'm hoping that my podcast schedule is going to pick up as well. So I am very excited. And then also, it's Middleburg, man. So it's always a cool hang. You get a chance to run into a bunch of people. I was getting texts yesterday from people like, hey, man, we got to get together at Middleburg. I'm like, we do. Lunch is on you this time. Never mind. I had a running joke, man. There's a person who I'm not gonna name who took us out to lunch several years ago. And then of course we had the pandemic. So I saw this person last year and I was drinking something because I don't drink. And I was like, bartender, get her whatever she wants.
Mm.
And when I got that bill, Charles, for my drink and her drink, it was $60. So that's why I said, lunch is on you this year. So yeah, man, Middleburg is fun, man. I mean, I think this is probably for me the lightest year I'm gonna probably ever have at Middleburg because there's so many movies I've already seen. And The Whale I want to watch again, Devotion I want to watch again. Till I don't think so, man. My tender sensibilities can't handle the Emmett Till story more than once, man. I'm just being real with you, man. I think now, please understand that I think the sister that directed it, who did Clemency, thought she did an amazing job. I thought Danielle Deadweiler, who played Cuffy in The Harder They Fall, when you take all of that masculine energy off of her, and she is in her Mamie Till, she's a cutie. I was like, dang, Cuffy, I didn't know you was rocking like that. So yeah, man, I think Till is a really, really important story. But as a black man of a certain age, man, I put it in the Precious, Fruitvale Station, 12 Years a Slave, in films of that ilk. I put it in that box. Like, I'm never gonna be home on a Friday night going, hey man, let's do dinner and a movie, and the movie's gonna be Till. No, no. What about, hey Charles, dinner and a movie, and I'm gonna show Precious?
How am I going to be able to hold my dinner down? Why would you show that to me? Yeah.
Hey man, I'm just trying to tell you,
Like you
man.
said, they're great films, one and all, but they got a one-time viewing, one-time view. That's it.
That's my point, man. These are, I call them one-offs. I see them once, I'll never need to see them again. I got it the first time. So, Charles, we got about 20 minutes, man, in the show. And for people, before we close out this segment, the Middleburg Film Festival happens the 13th through the 16th of October out in Middleburg, Virginia. I don't know if it's sold out. They're going to have a bunch of movies. Like Charles and I are kind of spoiled because we get a chance to see a lot of movies. There are some really good movies that are at Middleburg, and we kind of talk through some of them. Charles is loving Glass Onion. I need to see Devotion again. I think The Whale is pretty good. Go out there and check that out. It's the 10th anniversary. It's going to be nice this year. They hook it up every year anyway. So for the 10th anniversary, Charles, I'm just afraid of what these guys have in store, and I'm looking forward to it.
I agree. There's nothing more fun than being at Middleburg. Hopefully this year, when they have the opening night party, they will have my name on the list. I had to talk myself into the party last year. I'm like, what do you mean I'm not on the list? But it's always a lot of fun just hanging out with people, watching movies, eating some good food. It's always a great time. So if nothing else, I'm just looking forward to seeing people.
All right. So having said that, man, I did have something I wanted to bring up and talk about because I found this to be very interesting this week. They were interviewing Christian Bale because his new movie, what the
Amsterdam.
Amsterdam is about to come out. And during the interview, Christian Bale thanked Leonardo DiCaprio for passing on this role so that he can get it. And then he took it a step further and says, not only did Leo pass on this, but every producer in Hollywood, when they're writing a male character, he gets offered everything before everybody else. And I thought about that, and it's funny because during the Oscars a couple of years ago, when Joaquin Phoenix won for the Joker, he thanked Leonardo, and it was funny because at the time he said, I kept going out on these auditions. And he said, I kept losing to this young guy, losing roles to this young guy. And we don't even say his name. And I would ask the producers, like, well, who, like, what's going on? And they would go, it's Leonardo's role. And they're like, who is this Leonardo? So Leonardo DiCaprio is the one guy in Hollywood right now that everybody acknowledges that if they're writing a movie, they want Leonardo DiCaprio to star in that movie. And Bale has talked about how he's gotten multiple roles that Leo passed on: American Psycho, Amsterdam. You see Joaquin Phoenix. Everybody wants Leo DiCaprio, right? And I was trying to think, Charles, is there anybody Black? And I would probably think, if you think 50, 60, 70 years ago, it might have been Sidney Poitier. That like every role that was a Black role had to come through Sidney first. And if he was like, I don't want to do it, then somebody else could take that role. But does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you ever watch the Jimmy Kimmel show? After, at the end of every show, he said, thanks Matt Damon for, he tells Matt Damon, sorry, I couldn't get you on the show. And so it's become a running joke that, that they've even played up on by actually having Matt Damon on the show. So when you hear this about Leonardo DiCaprio, you're like, are you serious? Is Leo wow, he's got that much that he's legitimately locked up every big role that that comes through Hollywood. Everything goes through him. I'm like, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Look at this, man. I'm reading Leo's stuff right now, man. Leo, wow. Actor and producer, known for his work as a leading man in biopics and period films. He's a recipient of numerous accolades, including an Oscar, BAFTA, and 3 Golden Globes. As of 2019, Charles, his films have grossed $7.2 billion worldwide, and he is placed 8 times in the annual rankings of the world's highest paid actors. Leo DiCaprio was 47 years old, and man, bruh, I mean, I have to stand back in awe, because if you're telling me that every role in Hollywood that's being written, every script that goes out, and Charles, okay, for people at home who don't know what we're talking about, if you see a movie in the theater, that movie could have been 5 years in development, 10 years in development. Ray was 14 years in development. So movies are in development, right? You attach a name to it, and then, depending on how it goes, the availability of an actor, you get these movies made. Leonardo DiCaprio now, for the last several years, has been working with Martin Scorsese. Back when he was younger, Scorsese worked with Robert De Niro. So now Leo and Scorsese, Leo and Marty are now working together. And bruh, he's 47 years old. Leo, if he at the rate that he's going right now, Charles, he's got another 25 years of roles in him. If he stays active, it's nothing. I mean, come on, man. 25 years, he'll be 72. But to be that highly acclaimed in the game, films like Wolf of Wall Street, Gangs of New York, The Aviator, The Departed. Come on, man. Yeah, Leo is a beast, man. Leo is a beast, man. So I was a little interested in that. If you're hearing Christian Bale and Joaquin Phoenix talk about the power of DiCaprio. Wow.
All right.
And I will also add, which I didn't know, did you know that Tom Brady's current wife, Giselle, was with Leo 20 years ago for 5 years?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Look, Charles. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. I want to transition from Leo, because I know you really got some love for him, but I really want to get this in before we sign off, because a couple episodes ago you threw out this show, and you told everybody they had to watch it, and they would thank you after watching it. You gave it some high praise. Now I'm talking about the Beast. When that was called, the Beast, the cooking show.
Oh, the cooking show. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. It wasn't called the Beast. It was called
The
the
Bear.
Bear. The Bear.
Well, I got one for you, and it just dropped on Netflix this week. It's called Intergalactic. It's
Oh yeah, I need to watch that. That's the one with Kid Cudi, directed
Kid
by
Cudi,
Kenya Barris.
written by Kid Cudi and Kenya Barris. It's got a bunch of stars: Cudi, Jessica Williams, Ty Dolla $ign, Timothy Chalamet, Vanessa Hudgens, Keith David. I mean, you can go on down the list. Jaden Smith, Macaulay Culkin, everybody's in this film, and it's done in the almost in the style of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, it's a intensely creative animated movie, a great black love story. I thought, and Netflix has, they put these little trailers up, right? My man is in, and just to tease you to watch the movie, my man is in the bed asleep with his girl, and she gets his phone and she sees this DM from his ex, and telling him thank you for last night or whatever. And she puts the phone down. I mean, it's just that little piece of a hook that was like, oh man, I got to see what she's going to do to this guy. But I'm telling you, this is a beautiful story. If I had the time to talk about it more, I would give it the highest praise. If we could have a Black Reels animated movie category, this would be the winner. This is the best, one of the best films I've seen all year. Intergalactic on Netflix, right? Just dropped this week. Check it out.
I will definitely check it out. They put something in our Netflix preview queue today. Something I've been wanting to see, so I'm going to watch that. I have plenty of things to bide my time as I am home isolated for the next several days. Also, you don't watch Atlanta, right?
I haven't watched Atlanta this season.
Okay, cool. For people who aren't Charles Kirkland, the fourth episode, I think, or the fifth episode of this season, what is it called, man? Because I'm not gonna give it away for people, man. You need to watch it. But it's the Tyler Perry satire. They are roasting Tyler Perry this week. With Kirkwood Chocolate, who runs Chocolate Land, a film studio in Atlanta.
I know that gave you nothing but joy.
No, man. Hey, man. Watch this. I met Tyler Perry once. I thought that his latest film was the best thing he's ever done, right? I just want for Tyler Perry, in my estimation, to be a better filmmaker, right? And in this episode of Atlanta, which they are clearly shooting at Tyler Perry, clearly, they're not even trying to hide it. Kirkwood Chocolate is the guy that runs this huge chocolate studios, where in the show, Van, who plays Ern's girlfriend and their kid, she's coming to be a day player at Chocolate Studios to shoot, one thing. And Kirkwood Chocolate discovers her daughter, and the next thing you know, the daughter is in like 14 scenes of this movie. And one of the funny jokes about it, Charles, was they were like, and the episode is called Work Ethic, right? So one of the funny things about it was that they would do something and they would go, Kirkwood would go, we'll fix it in post. And the girl said, well, the post people are mad because they want you to fix it in pre. Or they'll say something like, we were just blocking the scene. That wasn't a real cut. And he was like, we're moving on. I was like, wow. I was like, what did Tyler Perry do to Donald Glover for him to make a whole episode? So since you haven't watched Atlanta recently, they did a show back in season 2 called Teddy Perkins. Do you remember that one? That was the Michael Jackson. So think Teddy Perkins Kirkwood chocolate.
Oh,
And even when you meet and see who Kirkwood chocolate is, it's an uncanny resemblance. Woo! Oh my God. I had to watch it twice. I was screaming.
oh
I
my
was screaming.
gosh.
Yeah, man. So, needless to say, Atlanta is good. Next week is the finale of She-Hulk, and we'll find out what's going on there. Abbott Elementary is back. So trying to think, is there anything else? You talked about Intergalactic. I got tons of movies to watch, and the playoffs start for me in about 2 hours when the Mets are playing San Diego at home. Max Scherzer's on the hill against you Darvish tonight.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, man, my Giants play in London on Sunday, so I'll be watching the game at 9:30 in the morning. Yeah, so that's my weekend kind of laid out, man. Watching movies and watching stuff.
Well, Marvel also dropped Werewolf by Night. They're one episode, one hit, hour long special, Halloween type special, mostly in black and white, and it's passable.
Did you
It
see it?
introduces a couple characters that if you read the comic books you would recognize, but I thought it was interesting.
So you saw it already? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got so much stuff to catch up on, man. Ironically, I fell down a sinkhole watching Saints and Sinners on Hulu.
Bounce.
Yeah,
Was it on Bounce or Hulu?
it was on Hulu. Charles, when I tell you I fell down a sinkhole, I keep comparing these shows, these quote unquote Christian family shows, to each other. And the thing that I always notice, much like in Honk for Jesus, that there's a lot of substance, or a lot of style, but not a lot of love of God substance, man. And the deeper you go into Saints and Sinners, I had to turn it off because it just got so ridiculous, man. I was like, come on, man. You shooting people, you killing people. You supposed to be the first lady, and then the founding first lady is stealing babies, and like, what is going on, man?
And you watched it?
I did, man, because it plays in the background, and then it's like crack. You get hooked on it, which is also a funny joke that happens in the latest episode of Atlanta to show you how absurd Kirkwood chocolate is. He has a scene where a daughter is talking to the mama while the mama's eating a crack sandwich. And I was like, Charles, a crack sandwich? Wow. Bro, I'm telling you, you need to watch that episode of Atlanta if you don't watch any other episode. But I'm like,
I'm gonna have
man,
to binge it. I'm gonna have to binge it.
what has Tyler Perry done to you for you to go after him so savagely, man? They said he's on the John Witherspoon soundstage. I'm like, there's no John Witherspoon soundstage. Oh my God, man. All right, man. Well, we got to get out of here, man. It's about that time. Charles, you got anything else you want us to hit that people at home need to watch, need to check out this weekend?
Hellraiser dropped on Hulu. It's that's interesting too. It's a reboot of the Clive Barker series from the 80s. So now we have almost every horror film in the 80s has been revived in this decade that we're in now. So I say it is Hellraiser, and that's all. If you like the first one, this one will be good to you. So
All right, so In the Cut with Zoe Saldana, Netflix movie is in our queue. I think it opens either the 21st of this month or next month, but we need to check that out so we can get back to you and let you know. Because that's what our job is right now. We're in that season where we're seeing stuff really, really early, man. So whether it's Devotion, I don't think Devotion comes out until November, man. So
yeah. The best thing in the theaters this week is Lyle Lyle Crocodile. It's the
better
delightful.
than The Woman King, man.
The best thing in the theaters this week is Lyle Lyle Crocodile. It's just a whole different film than The Woman King. It's something that you can take your family to and enjoy. You can't take your family to The
I'll take
Woman.
my family to The Woman King and they enjoyed it.
You can't take your children to The Woman King and enjoy and have them enjoy that. That thing is violent.
Hey
Violent.
man, they got to know early that that's the way of the world. Child is born. I'm sorry, I just had Earth, Wind, and Fire moment, man. All right, man, let's get out of here, man. So you going Lyle Lyle Crocodile? I call bull shiggity and tell you need to go see The Woman King. Don't be listening to Charles. Some of the best thing in movies this weekend. It's The Woman King. And by the way, did we talk about the trailer drop for Black Panther 2?
The one that gave away the whole story?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That sure is going to be the new Black Panther.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, okay. So is there anything else we need to talk about? Because Black Panther, we're going to get notification that we need to go and see that pretty soon. So I am looking forward to figuring out, will this film, Charles, do what the first one did, which is pretty much, because I think the first one was nominated for 18 Black Reel Awards, 17 Black Reel Awards.
Something like that, yeah.
It's going to be interesting, man. We'll see. We're getting there. All right, Charles, as we tell everybody in closing every week, please see something good at the movies. Charles is giving you his recommendation. I gave you mine. You're welcome. I don't know about what Charles is doing with Lyle Lyle Crocodile, man. Come on, bro. Come on, man. And until next week, we will see you guys. You guys take care. Next time you hear from us, we'll be at the Middleburg Film Festival with hopefully some hotness coming out of the podcast studio. So until then, you guys take care and enjoy your weekend and be better than me. Do not be me sounding like a frog man on COVID at the house. Stay safe in those streets. Don't go out there raw dogging it. Put on a mask. Don't act like you live in a blue state. You guys take care.
I need you not to say that anymore. Don't say it anymore.
Raw dogging. All right, man. You guys take care. We'll see you next time.